Friends, while I was sitting there, a mother came with her 2 children. She said that I have been going to a homeopath, but my family was after my blood. कुछ नहीं कर रही हो तुम, एलोपैथ के पास जाओ. And she said, then I came to you. And then you asked, अभी तक क्या कर रहे थे आप? So I was going to such and such homeopath. You are going to him? Yes. So you go back to him. She said, you literally pushed me out of the room. And thank God you did that, because that child has kept so well, and she showed me this tall young man standing there. But you know, by doing this, I lost one patient. You know what? When she had another child, I never saw that child again. So I blame the homeopath for that. But I'm so happy this mother came looking so cheerful, and the children also looked so healthy and happy. Friend, it works. Lage raho Munna bhai. Then another doctor came. She retired as professor of pediatric surgery from the JJ hospital, Dr. Kirtane. She had to go for another seminar where I will be also going to Jaslok Hospital, so she left. But she was here. I am mentioning her name because I saw a newborn baby with an abscess in the breast of the baby. The breast of this baby was absolutely red, swollen, painful, child crying all the time. So I could understand there was a lot of pus here and it needed to be drained. So I trust Dr. Kirtane, Josna Kirtane, so I sent back to her to drain the child. And she rings me, sir, would you mind if I try some homeopathy? So I really had a laugh. I said, please go ahead. And she gave a remedy, and the whole thing so beautifully, gently got drained without any surgery. So this was another experience that I had. Then I heard this mother whose child was being treated by another colleague of mine, Dr. Kumud Mehta, a very fine paediatrician, nephrologist, and a good human being. But the child continued to be dependent on drugs, and things were not going the right way. When the mother went to the homeopath, and you saw the result. To this mother, I'll give 99 out of 100 marks. Why not 100%? Because she ended the story with Lays and ice creams. You will see me also sometime taking ice cream. I like it. But I think to such an audience, this message can be dangerous, because the child may recover from nephrotic syndrome, but may develop other problems if we continue to follow what is advertised on our television or in the radio or in the mass media. My humble request is, please don't go to any allopath, don't go to any homeopath, keep fit. And the first lesson and the first lesson for that is, don't buy anything which you see on the television. It includes the filters recommended by Hema Malini. Follow the Jain Dharma. I'm not a Jain. Follow the Jain Dharma and boil your drinking water. Now, how I was introduced to homeopathy. Pooja lived next door to us. Pooja got a severe infection near one of our fingernails. At that time, I was teaching in the Nair hospital. I took her for surgery. She got all right. After a week, she developed in the other finger. So I said, chalo beta, chalte hain. Uncle, if you don't mind, my father is a homeopath. He is in Lucknow. I would like to talk to him. मैंने कहा ठीक है बात करो. The father took history, you know, the way these homeopaths take the history. And again, she was given some pills and the whole damn thing healed so beautifully. Then she noted my wife sneezing all the time. She had what is called allergic rhinitis. At that time, if she would even take half a tablet of an anti-allergic drug, antihistamine, next day she'll be drowsy. So Pooja asked, Auntie, आप भी क्यों नहीं homeopathy try करते? So she referred to a homeopath in Mumbai. And again, Asha, my wife, beautifully settled down without any of those anti-allergic medicines. And then it encouraged us to send our youngest son, Vivek, because he had the same problem, which he had perhaps inherited from his mother. And he also settled. This is how gradually the faith started building in this science. Till one day, near Opera House, lived an excise inspector. I had seen his earlier child, and now for the other child, he brought me to his home. This child was having high fever, marked breathlessness, severe coughing, and it was obviously a very serious case of lung infections. So I was going to write the prescription, the antibiotic, when he said, Dr. Anand, this child is already on homeopathy. This was a very senior homeopath who unfortunately has died now. So he feels child will get all right, it may take little time. So I said, okay, then I wrote a letter to this doctor and I said, I was going to prescribe this antibiotic because I feel this child needs it. But this is what the family tells me, so now you please take care. Anytime I want it again, I am needed again, I will be available. Again, this child settled. So I couldn't help going to this senior homeopath, going to his consulting room after an appointment, and said, that was great. He says, okay, Dr. Anand, I'm glad you have appreciated that. Let's have an agreement. I said, what's that? He said, any child who comes to me, that means to that homeopath, he will send to me. He will allow me to take the history, examine the patient, do any investigation, what I want, make a diagnosis, but not to give any treatment and send back to the homeopath for the treatment. Unfortunately, after that, that doctor died, so we could not continue our experience in that direction. But whatever I have seen today, or otherwise in some of my other patients, tells me homeopathy does work. But then when I talk to my own colleagues, they will say, it's a placebo effect, which, as some of you may not be knowing, कि अगर मैं किसी से प्यार से भी बात करता हूँ तो उसको कुछ अच्छा होता है, ब्लड प्रेशर थोड़ा कम हो जाता है. So when a doctor who is a good doctor, with love and affection, with care, whom you trust, give you even vitamin B complex tablet, which you don't know is B complex, you feel better. This is called the placebo effect. So I said, yes, placebo effect is a known condition. It has been studied very well, and I accept that. But what about this newborn baby? Usko kahan se placebo effect hua? What about my dog? We had a dog who had a severe infection in the tail. पूरा बेचारे का खून बह रहा है, मक्खियां बैठ रही हैं उसके ऊपर. उसको क्या प्लेसिबो इफेक्ट हुआ कि without any allopathic medicine the whole thing settled. So it's not that. Then they said, अरे इसमें बाबा स्टीरॉइड्स डालते हैं ये लोग, इसलिए एक्जिमा अच्छा हो जाता है. So I said, okay, because really I won't be a party to harming my patients. So in my hand came a beautiful article by an allopath who turned into homeopathy, who wrote an article about do homeopathic medicines contain steroid. It was such a good article because it showed that how you test the medication can modify the result. So then I made sure that the medicines are got tested and was convinced that they do not contain any corticosteroids. Then, but it's slow acting. You have seen here, वो nephrotic syndrome के बच्चे को कितने साल लगे? Did he respond immediately? Forget about that. It may be a rare condition. What about a child with fever who comes to me? डॉक्टर साहब इसको 3 दिन से बुखार है, जीपी के पास गए हैं, उन्होंने मेडिसिन दी है, लेकिन अभी भी बुखार चल रहा है. Then you see, you suspect it could be a typhoid or any other illness. You say, okay, I'll watch for a day or so, and then you'll go for some investigation if required. So watch for a day or two, you go for an investigation, because you are one of those allopath doctors who don't believe in just prescribing antibiotics without making a diagnosis. Then you wait for the results. How many time? How many days did it take? It still took time. So if you can wait in such circumstances with the allopath for a week or so, don't be in rush to change your homeopath. In fact, when there is an acute illness in a child who was improving under homeopathy, that is more reason you should go to him or her. I said particularly thinking of Divya because she was so good today. So go to them, because at that time they may be able to discover something special about the behavior of the child, the behavior of the people around the child, and may be able to understand the child much more fully, so that not only the acute condition can be helped, but the previous illnesses from which the child was suffering can also be taken care of in a better way. So if it's an acute condition, don't rush to an allopath, go back to your homeopath and see what he or she has to say. The funny thing is that in US, the statistic has shown that 750,000 of people are admitted every year, not admitted, so I have visit an emergency every year because of the side effects of drugs. And 1 out of these 3 people die because of the side effects of drugs. So this is another reason why you have to be careful and as well as possible, safer avenues like homeopathy may be preferable. Then of course, our hospitals are full of germs. You go for something, you bring back home something else, another new infection. Radiation has its own side effects, so don't even rush to tests which are not essential. I remember an American woman coming to me with her child in Mumbai who had a head injury after a fall. I examined the child. There was no history of vomiting, no unconsciousness, no disturbed consciousness, clinically absolutely normal. Doctor, what would you like to do? I said, if I was in America, I might have been concerned and might have considered a CT scan of the head. But if this was my grandchild, I will like to see him again tomorrow, again day after, but not do any investigation and not give any medication. So she sweetly said, Dr. Anand, I would like you to treat this child as if this was your grandson. And we did that. Next day the child came, perfectly all right. Day after the child came, perfectly all right. No investigation was done, and the child has remained absolutely healthy and fit. Not getting better, or not telling the symptoms properly to your doctor, whether it's a homeopath or an allopath. I myself remember I had severe toothache. So my homeopath took symptoms, all typical questions they ask. So he was getting up, and then he said, anything else in your mind? I said, yes. 2 days ago, something happened with a person that is still on my mind. Tell me more about that. So I told more about that. Thank God you have told me that, because you now need your constitutional remedy. That means another medication. And that was given, and within few hours, no pain, without any analgesic, and I was okay. So again, it's so important. Sometimes you may have missed telling the doctor all your symptoms, or maybe unfortunately your doctor was too busy to have a relaxed time with you and did not get certain important symptoms which were needed to make the right diagnosis for the right remedy. So don't rush, and telling the symptoms, I'm so glad in many cases you saw the child was encouraged to tell the symptoms. This is very important. In fact, even in my clinic, I would rather ask the child to speak first, especially children, those who are verbal. Others we can observe their behavior. And then ask the mother and the father and the grandparents, what do they have to say? And in fact, I would say even on the phone, if the child has suddenly become bad and the child is verbal, ask the mom, let the child speak to me on phone. And there also you may get an idea as to perhaps what is happening as of now. Friends, before you go out, you will be given a pamphlet, 5 steps for healthy living and simple remedies for common ailments. Read that carefully, especially the last portion which talks about 10 steps for a newborn baby. For heaven's sake, don't give anything to a newborn child except mother's milk till the child completes 6 months. Do not allow the massage woman to squeeze the breast of the newborn baby, which is normally swollen, and so on. Read that carefully. Use none of the Johnson & Johnson product. No baby soap, no powder, no shampoo, no cream, no oil. In fact, just any ordinary non-smelling soap. So those things you will see over there in those 5 steps. A few words to our homeopathic friends here. I would strongly recommend that any young homeopath who comes to you, send them to some open-minded allopath. It could be an obstetrician, paediatrician, orthopedic surgeon, even a dentist. Let them stay there as an observer. Watch how they manage the patients. Also continue to read anatomy, physiology, biochemistry so that you understand the human body better. Also, come to know friendly allopaths who have an open mind, whose interest is the patient, not anything else. Don't, please, for heaven's sake, start investigating yourself. Because very often I see, sometimes people get investigations done and then you need another investigation after that. For example, very often the child has a persistent fever. They will get a blood count done and start antibiotic without asking for a blood culture. So be careful, or discuss with a friendly allopath. And I must say to this audience, you are lucky if you are in touch with the homeopath. Homeopathy works, it is safe, it is gentle, especially for children, but even for children like me, who may be old in age, but who have an open mind to keep learning. For example, Divya so beautifully was telling us about infections helping also. Now there's enough evidence to show that babies who get infections repeatedly when they are small infants, especially if they are under the cover of breastfeeding, they get less infections later on because their immune mechanism is now challenged. Not only that, babies who have a cat at home, soon after they are born, they have less allergic problems due to cat's hair, unlike children who are exposed to it later on. So have faith in this way of looking, have a healthy lipping, but most important before I leave this stage is, parents, please give time to your children. You have all heard about TLC, tender loving care. I say change it T for time. Give time to your children, especially the Indian fathers need to spend more time with their children. Tell them about your childhood. Tell them about your failures. Tell them how you learned from your mistakes. Listen to them. L, of course, is love unconditional. Child should be assured तुम पास होगे, फेल होगे, थोड़े मार्क्स आएंगे, ज़्यादा मार्क आओगे, दूसरे रिश्ते शादी किसी लड़की से करोगी दूसरे जात की, सब मुझे मंजूर है, because I love you and I trust you. Love, unconditional. And seek communication. If the child is quiet, even if the child is speaking, don't just listen to the child. कि वो क्या बोल रहा है, but listen in the sense that hearing is not adequate. Listening to even the unsaid words of the child is very important. So please remember these words: time, TLC, time, love, and communication, and you will produce wonderful children of which this country will be proud. Thank you.